I am Dr. Gail Tenen-Spock. I'm the Associate Vice President for Continuing and Distance Education at this university, and also the prime contact along with my director, Ray Vicari, of the Advanced Manufacturing Talent Network for the state of New Jersey. We have been doing this talent network for our state for the last 4 years. And this event today, in partnership with the public libraries of the state of New Jersey, specifically Library Link New Jersey, is one of the results of many years now of very hard work to bring back advanced manufacturing into our glorious state and into the cities and areas of our state which have never forgotten their roots in manufacturing. And New Jersey was once the 4th largest manufacturing city in America, the 4th largest. And one day again, we are not just going to be the 4th in our particular city, but we hope to be the first state in the country that really knows how, through strategic planning and work with people like all of you in the audience, and especially the young people who are in our audience today and more to come, to make this happen. I just want to say a few words about NJIT. So, for how many of you has this been your first visit to this university? Well, wait a minute. Someone raised his hand, who you'll be hearing from later, which is not true. But for those of you for whom it was true, you are so welcomed, and I cannot tell you how many opportunities for every age level, from the youngest, they call it cradle to grave, that this university offers, both in the education, training, research, and practical solutions to problems that our companies in the state, in the city, our public organizations in our region have. We are a place that can solve problems. About today, though, the problem that we're solving is not a problem, because all of you that are here are interested in tinkering, in doing things that are creative, that are new, that involve technology, because there's nothing in the universe today that does not involve technology. And this is what a Maker's Day is about. This is the first annual New Jersey Maker's Day, and you know, as Ray Vicari has said, there are 130 plus other sites in our state that are receiving these words this morning, and we welcome all those sites throughout our state with people who in the audience and on the ground and in companies that are as interested as all of you are to have come out on a Saturday to hear about what can be done in the do-it-yourself, tinkering, high-tech, but STEM, science, technology, engineering, I'm going to add arts in there, and mathematics, or STEAM as it's now called, environment. So, my job is to just give you a little of the logistics and get us going. Coffee is available all the way down the hall. Restrooms are available also down this long hall. You see no students here basically because NJIT is on recess, but otherwise this would have been a booming campus. And I'm sorry you haven't had the opportunity to see the faces of the exciting students here who are changing the future, and they're all doing it in engineering, technology areas with this do-it-yourself theme of the world. I think you all have your program, so you know we're going to go one onto the other, and there will be time to interact with the folks who we are so appreciative have come to do some demos for all of you today. So please do stop by. So I want to just make one further statement before I introduce our keynoter of the morning, who I think will be a very interesting discussion for us because he has been changing our state as well. So let's think about what a New Jersey Maker's Day is all about. And I'd like to just put in your minds before I step down the idea that let's think about this Maker's Day as being the engine that's going to ignite the fires of your imagination, your creativity, and your mind that is so focused on tinkering and making things happen with your hands and your brains. So let's all tinker. Now I'd like to present our keynote speaker, Mr. John Kennedy. John has spent over 30 years in the engineering and manufacturing industries, both in senior management and with larger firms. I'll just name one, which is Sandvik, which has been one of our huge partners with manufacturing and our talent network. But over the years, he's been in a number and knows all ends of the business. But now, he is the executive director of the New Jersey Manufacturing Extension Program. He's going to tell us about this, and he's going to tell us about how he is, and his program, one of 50. Every state has an extension program, and John runs ours in this state. How he is helping to motivate the minds of the youth of our state, as well as all the manufacturers who are in our state today with technical assistance. So may I welcome with a round of applause, John Kennedy.
Good morning. As Gail mentioned, NJMEP is, we're hitting our 20th anniversary. The program is national. It's supported by the Department of Commerce, NIST MEP out of Gaithersburg, Maryland. But we're actually a working group. We do a lot of training. We do a lot of consulting. We develop programs. We advocate. And as the former owner of a manufacturing plant in Irvington and an engineering company down in South Plainfield, I certainly know that we need advocates for small and mid-sized businesses as we grow. There's a lot to be said about NJMEP, but what I'd like to recommend to you is please go to our website, njmep.org, take a look at it, and then feel free to reach out to me by email or calling me, because I think that that's the best way to have the conversation about a program that is so amazing in my eyes. But what I really want to talk to today about is more about the makers movement. And I struggled when Ray and Mike talked to me originally about what to speak about in regards to makers movement. And I did a lot of research and reading. You know, I've been engaged on many different levels. And one article I recently read said that makers movement is unprecedented in our history of our country. And that sort of confused me a little bit. And then I was driving in someone else's car, and they were listening to Talk Sports Radio. And they were arguing about who was the greatest quarterback of all time. Now, I know that you may not be all that interested in it. To be honest with you, I wasn't all that psyched about listening to it either, but it wasn't my car. But they talked about Tom Brady and Joe Montana and Peyton Manning, all guys that have played in the last, 10 years. And then a lady called in and said, "Hey, you forgot Bart Starr." And I remember Bart Starr when I was a kid. He won 5 championships in a row in the 60s. And then she said, "And you forgot Otto Graham." Now, I didn't know who Otto Graham was, but I looked him up, and he won like 7 titles in 10 years or something back in the 40s and 50s. My point being is that just like football or any sport or any other educational facility, the makers movement has evolved in our country. We've always had a makers movement, always. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my own makers movement and how I've come to my point. I broke it into 3 areas. The first area is necessity. I had a makers movement as a child driven by necessity. Now, what does that mean? That means that my family didn't have a lot of money, and we lived in a 200-plus-year-old home, including a coal furnace, and there were no parts for these things. So my father was a brilliant inventor, an engineer by examination after World War II, not by degree, and he would come home with books like this, Basic Electricity, or How to Weld. And this is actually his book that he gave to me, and there'd be a little note on it and say, read pages 23 through 35. And I knew what my weekend was going to be. The thing is that it wasn't a chore because, number one, we needed it around the house, and number two, he was putting the practical with what I was reading, so it became exciting to me. By age 7, I was out with my dad wiring furnaces in people's houses, and I was actually running the wires for the thermostats and doing this. Now they'd arrest my dad, but back then, most of my friends who were iron workers or masons or plumbers, their parents, they were out too. So the first thing, as I said, was necessity. We had to do things around that house. Everybody thought it was so wonderful because it had a beautiful copper roof. Hot tar. That was not a fun job to learn how to do, but I did learn it. The second phase of that was commercial to me. And at a very young age, I realized that I could find lawnmowers and bicycles that were being abandoned in garbage, and if you fixed them up and painted them, you could make some money. And since I didn't have any money, that was a good thing. My best friend's dad owned a body shop in town, and as long as we were out of there by 7 a.m. so that he could get his business in there, we could do whatever we wanted. And we came up with some pretty interesting colors by mixing various paints together. We learned things too, like certain paints you can't mix together. It was always the interesting stuff that intrigued me. Later on, when we got to high school, we'd paint people's cars or we'd change their transmissions. And we'd find ways to do things because it brought us in some income. You know, my pop died when I was still a teen, and it came at a time as I was trying to evolve into a college student, so I certainly knew what it was like to try to put some money together and go to college. So I was glad that I had that education from my father and the opportunity. Now, the third thing with the Makers Movement, and I brought some show and tell. The nuns at St. Vincent's School in Madison would be excited that I did show and tell today. And these are a lot of things that I grew up with and some of the things that maybe you guys remember. One of them's a erector set. We didn't have Legos. So we used our erector set. And basically, it's a structural steel componentry. And we built all sorts of things. I remember building a tramway in my backyard so that my plastic soldiers could, be transported safely. And it was part of the fun. Now, years later, when I owned my engineering company, we actually used the erector set as a way to visualize truss work. We did a lot of work in electrostatic precipitators in power plants. So we used my brothers and my set to show this in an office filled with professional engineers. And you know what? It was better than looking at a 3D drawing on a computer screen. One of the other things I brought in was something that I learned about. We made our own soldiers out of lead, and then when my parents found out lead was not all that healthy, my father taught us how to mix various metals together to do things. And it was interesting because we got to learn, again, what mixed well, what did things, what types of temperatures. And this is literally what we did. We made and then we painted our own, soldiers that we used. And it was kind of cool. I did this with my son. He didn't think it was so cool. What are you going to do? And one of the young men that was here, we were talking about Pinewood Derbies. I almost brought his Pinewood Derby because that was sort of a maker's movement as well. Rocketry. I started with rocketry. If some of you may remember, and I don't know if they still do, my father smoked cigars every once in a while. So they had these metal tubes that they put the cigars in. Well, they made pretty good rockets. And the term pretty good fits. I learned a lot about why fins are important, especially after I blew a hole in a window at Mrs. Pacone's house. You learn a lot about making your mistakes. I also learned that you can't, when you're making fuel up and you're packing it together, air inside the fuel packet is not a good thing. But it looks cool when it blows up. Later on, I got really engaged with, and Mike Marchetti and I were talking about it because he does a lot of that. With the Boy Scouts, we did a lot of rocketry work and learned a lot more about it. The boat that I had there, I found out later that this thing was about $300. I bought it at a garage sale when I was like 18 for $3. I thought it was money well spent. What I learned with all of these things was how to use servos, how to properly charge, batteries, and why batteries in certain cases don't do well. Again, all of it was a learning experience for me that was part of my maker's movement. The last thing I brought, and I don't know how many people got us into this, but my whole buddies, is the little Aurora race cars. We had these all over the place, and we learned about gear ratios. We learned about what type of tires, that the white tires that were silicone were great in a straight line, but couldn't turn. The foam tires were really cool and you could turn well, but they wore down fast. So again, you started putting things together. Literally, I bought up everybody's set in my neighborhood when they were selling them at garage sales or throwing them away. And today, I can't throw it away, although my wife wishes I would. I have like 4,000 feet of track. And I have every car and charger, I think, in the Morris County area. And we used to race in teams because we would hook it up. Again, we didn't have a lot of money when I was younger, so finding a great way to have fun and to do something was really, really excellent. And to me, this was my maker's movement. And one of the things that came through this was I want to show you a picture of one of the best moments of my career. I'll put it out here. And Andres and I were talking about it. This is the first fully automated sort system that FedEx ever did. It's in Newark, Building 155. The system alone was $50 million. All of the things I talked to you about it, metallurgy, basic electricity, the structures, servo motors, all of those came into play, durometers of the project that we put together. And to this day, I go down there and visit and look at that, and it's one of the things that I hold most prideful in my life because we did something that no one else did. But it was built from my maker's movement, the evolution of a maker's movement, which now goes into additive engineering and additive manufacturing and 3D printing and everything else. So to conclude, my point to you today is that Makers isn't new, but there's new things to be done. You've just got to find your place in it and your challenge in it. You don't have to be an engineer. Believe you me, a lot of these things done when I was a kid had nothing to do with engineering and all about having some fun and trying something new. Little did I know I was also learning. And I appreciate you having me today, and Gail, thank you for asking me. Now, I get to introduce Senator Cory Booker. I met him, a few years back and did a lot of work with him and the small manufacturers in Newark. Was very impressed with the fact that he understood small businesses and really enjoyed the STEM and manufacturing aspects. We have a great video that was put together that highlights innovation and some of the programs that we've, and some of the companies that we've developed here. One of the things that impressed me the most about Senator Booker was we went to Weiss Aug, a metal form company in Hanover. And the excitement on his face of seeing how they made their product was priceless to me. And that's what we need. We need that excitement, not only at that level, but at every level, including some of you young people that come in. This is cool stuff.
Hi, this is U.S. Senator Cory Booker. Thank you so much for allowing me to join with you as you gather at events all across our great state to celebrate the inaugural New Jersey Makers Day. Throughout our state history, we have always taken pride that we have had the ability to bring new and revolutionary ideas to the world. From Albert Einstein to Thomas Edison, from John Roebling to Les Paul, New Jersey has always been the hub of creativity and exploration. I know that as a former mayor of Newark, where we had great inventors who actually have invented things that we even take for granted today. I loved Seth Boyden, who invented patent leather. I know when people think all across the world of patent leather, they think of New Jersey. No, in all seriousness, we are the place. We built the first steam locomotive. We built by John Stevens in Hoboken. Things that are a part of our everyday lives, incandescent light bulb, movies, and the first brewery in America all belong to New Jersey. And our very own Ewing, New Jersey, saw the first robot used in an auto production assembly line. I'm telling you, if you're a Jersey person, you have a lot to be proud of. And so being your senator allows me the opportunity to travel our state and regularly go around and talk to some of the people that are involved in doing the right thing. I always enjoy reading the words as I drive up and down our state. The simple words, Trenton makes, the world takes. You know, makers like you have a long history of being part of the economic fabric of our state, and now we are and continue to be changers of the world. New Jersey's Makers Day celebrates the maker culture by bringing this community together to share a full day of hands-on experiences. In many ways, it's harkening back to our past, but also shaping our future. In fact, our economy is being energized by entrepreneurs like you who are innovating and creating things that are beyond the dreams of our parents. The Makers Movement is comprised of so many innovative leaders, young people who will one day be the engines of our economy, expanding opportunity and taking humanity to higher and higher levels. So pursuits in the electronics, robotics, 3D modeling and printing, and manufacturing design are key now to the rise in our urgent need now to improve the American economy. New technology is being paired with traditional techniques such as metalworking and machining and other skills that are going to help for the necessary manufacturing revolution that's going to, again, fuel our economy and create jobs for many, many others. One of the top priorities I have as a senator is to expand opportunity. That's why I focused on apprenticeship programs. It's why I've promoted science and technology and engineering and math, STEM subjects. That's why I'm focusing on investment in business incubators and technology incubators and their accelerators that nurture companies here in New Jersey, the companies of tomorrow. I hope you'll take advantage of all the opportunities available to you at this event. Network, display your crafts. I hope that parents get a chance to expose their children to the ideas and projects here and let their natural curiosity and enthusiasm grow, because they are the inventors and makers of the future. But most of all, I hope we learn from each other and we hone our work and that we continue to be who our common heritage says we should be. In New Jersey, we should lead humanity. And so today I applaud the organizers. Thank you so much for putting together such a diverse assortment of activities, demonstrations, pulling together such great participants. New Jersey Makers Day is the physical manifestation of your vision and your insight, and I'm so pleased. Thank you to the numerous hosts, including many of the wonderful New Jersey libraries and small businesses that have been a part of this. And thank you for everything you've done to foster community growth on Makers Day and all the other events that you do. And to everyone watching this, whether you're coding in Piscataway, discovering how to start a business in Lodi, or are among our youngest participants, building, as I did as a kid, building with Legos in Vineland. Today, you are active participants in a long-standing New Jersey heritage in our tradition. You are innovating, you are moving the world forward. Einstein, Edison, Roebling, Paul, and of course, so many others made history here in New Jersey, and we are perpetuating this tradition. So continue learning, listening, creating. Long after New Jersey Makers Day ends, the Makers movement will continue, but I know that New Jersey will be on the cutting edge. And I, as one who believes in innovation and technology, believes in being one of those early adapters, always looking for the new ideas, I will be your champion in Washington, D.C. New Jersey is going to continue to forge a way forward for all of humanity. And I am just so thrilled by starting this new annual tradition, New Jersey Makers Day, that we are giving honor to those before and helping those yet unborn to have a better and better America and world. Thank you very much.
That was terrific. Thank you, Senator Booker. Very inspiring words. He is a very strong supporter of manufacturing in New Jersey, and we're glad to have him where he is and doing what he's doing. I'm Ray Vicari, as Gail introduced me, Director of the Advanced Manufacturing Talent Network. Been working with other organizers around the state in order to put this program together. And I'm just going to go over a couple of things about what is going on throughout the state. First of all, Gail, the number is up to 150, over 150 sites as of yesterday, which is very interesting. A lot of organizations that are participating. I am showing a slide now for those of you, maybe they can't see on the video, but anybody that's interested can see the list of sites, the participating sites throughout the state by going to www.njmakersday.org, and you could actually click on the link. There's a tab there for sites, and you can see all the different sites that are participating. Of the 150 sites, every county is represented. Very strong involvement with the public library and private library system, which is great. Library Link NJ is very much involved. And AC Moore is a company that is really participating in numerous sites throughout the state. I'd like to spend a couple of minutes and just go over some samples of what's going on around the state. And you can also go to that same website, www.njmakersday.org, and click on programs, and you can see some of those activities that are going on. I just listed a few here at the risk of making other people angry that I haven't shown it, but let me show you what this is. So Atlantic City Free Public Library, they're going to have an all-day event, interactive exhibits, crafts, collaborative community projects, etc. Bergenfield Public Library, hands-on rock band music demo, make and take miniature matchbox house, introduction to Animoto movie making, etc. Mount Laurel Library, join us for a 3D printing discussion. And you young people, you want to get into something that's a revolution in manufacturing, get into 3D printing. So they're going to have a demonstration led by additive manufacturing specialists from NextFab. Also, Cherry Hill Public Library, open play with maker equipment such as Makey, button maker, tree doodlers, etc. Bridgeton Free Public Library, the Engine Nerds, a local robotics team, and the Bridgeton Area Rocket Club will be on hand to speak about their programs. Maplewood Memorial Library, sample a variety of circuitry kits and breadboards such as SparkFun's Pico board and Inventor's Kit, Little Bits, etc. Hoboken Public Library, participants will build a light bulb using only a few household supplies. The final product will be very similar to the first light bulb ever invented. Terrific. Metuchen Public Library, the Thomas Edison, he said, to invent you need a good imagination and a pile of junk. So, Thomas Edison, he didn't invent the light bulb like a lot of people think, but he perfected it. He perfected that in Newark, New Jersey. He had his manufacturing plant here. Piscataway Public Library. Come and experience the maker movement with several of our exhibitors who will be providing hands-on demonstrations in the areas of science, robotics, electronics, and 3D printing. So that's just a sampling of some of the things that are going around the state. Here at NJIT, we have a number of demonstrations. We have Festo Didactics demonstrating their works. We have Rockwell Automation demonstrating theirs. We have Glassworks. You know, there's actually a glass blowing company in Newark, and they're going to demonstrate their work, and BJ Dowlin is going to talk about her BodyWorks ball. The organizations that I just want to recognize, again, at the risk of not recognizing some of them, but certainly NJIT, we thank NJIT for having this group here today. I got to put a plug in for Advanced Manufacturing Talent Network. The Piscataway Public Library, Doug Baldwin and others over there have been tremendous. They've organized this whole event across the state. They've done a great job. Library Link NJ, Cheryl O'Connor, who is very much a strong proponent of this and working with us on it. Technology Entrepreneurship Talent Network, which is also hosted at NJIT. They're partially funding this broadcast. And of course, NJMEP. What more can we say about John Kennedy and his organization? Again, there are others, people that participated with us. There was the Small Business Development Corporation and also the Workforce Investment Board out of Middlesex County. So what I want to leave you all with, and I'm saying leaving you with, we are going to go on with a program here, and we're going to continue to live stream the program here. But for those satellite organizations, if they're interested, they could turn off the set and go on with their sets or continue to broadcast. For the next half hour, we will continue to broadcast. And this particular broadcast, this live stream, will be converted to a YouTube video. You could search later today on NJ Makers Day at NJIT, and you should be able to find the whole video there. But the thing I want to close with about the spirit of Makers Day is making things. And particularly, I'm talking now particularly to the young people. And what I'd like to leave you with is get involved with making things. You know, as John Kennedy mentioned, you know, working with the erector sets, doing the Pinewood Derby, all these things are wonderful experiences that you could have as a young person to start to understand how things are put together. And, you know, when you're home and your parents, if they're doing something, if they're fixing something around the house, help them out, work with them on it. Or if they hire a contractor or any of your relatives, anybody that's doing anything, learn about what they're doing. Just watch at least, and maybe get involved. And you too will be a maker's person someday, maybe another Thomas Edison, okay? So we're gonna move on to the program here at NJIT. And what I'd like to do is introduce Don Sebastian. He's the Senior Vice President for Technology at NJIT and Business Development. He's also the President and CEO of NJII. NJII is an organization that's a 501c3 organization that NJIT formed to focus on innovation and what else? And technology development. Well, let's let Don talk to you about that. Welcome, Don.
So my main purpose in being here today is to announce an exciting new partnership with TechX Foundry, but I have to give you some foundations so you understand why that is so perfect together, to borrow an old governor's phrase, or a former governor's phrase. I don't think he wants us to call him old yet. It is the perfect thing to be doing here in Newark. It's the perfect thing for NJIT to be doing, and now for our new technology development enterprise, NJII, to take the lead for the university. You've heard much about Newark's history in smatterings in the previous speakers. You may not know that New Jersey was selected by our founding fathers to be the manufacturing center of the 13 colonies. That guy on the $10 bill, Alexander Hamilton, was the first Secretary of the Treasury. He was the person who created the economic master plan for the new country, and he saw the Patterson Falls as the perfect location for using Mother Nature's water power to drive the core of industrializing a country that he knew had to be a maker, not just a consumer. And Patterson was explicitly designed then to take advantage of that natural resource and become a model manufacturing center, and so it was. The steam locomotive, one of the two steam locomotives in the Golden Spike ceremony, was manufactured by Rogers Locomotive here in Patterson. The silk industry grew, and all of the silk weaving operations and manufacturers, both the equipment and the processes here in Paterson, New Jersey. And to show you how those things ultimately spin out, it was that capacity then fed in the later 1800s, Johnson & Johnson, that wanted to get in the business not only of sterile gauze and wound dressings, but sutures. And so silk sutures became commercialized through that close affiliation. We talk about clusters. And by the way, dental floss was similarly then. How would they use the scraps from the suture manufacturer? Well, they waxed it and it became dental floss. Here in Newark, you heard the senator identify Seth Boyden as one of the early pioneers, patent leather, because Newark was the center for leather manufacture. We were surrounded by the natural resources of tannin for tanneries, and we became the leather goods manufacturer. Today that sounds, kind of chic, I guess, or small market, but you think back to the era when we were a horse-drawn society, the importance of saddlery, reins, saddles, riding boots, all of those things became fundamental to driving the growth of the economy, as well as supplying then ultimately the military. And so we became a center then of manufacturing that also supported the defense industry. Wow, now we forward, it seems like a snap in time to us as we look back, as John was saying. You look back at the greats in football, and anything out of your personal life experience sort of fades and blends into one amalgam. You go to the late 1800s, and young Thomas Edison had his first invention here. The ticker tape machine is what really launched him and allowed him to capitalize ultimately his out-migration to Menlo Park, where he got the name of the Wizard of Menlo Park, and then later on over to the Oranges. But his first research and development laboratory, where he began experimenting with that light bulb filament, was here in Newark, and guess what? It's still here. It's not, you would not know, there's no plaque, but if you go down to the Rock Arena and walk around, you'll see the Edison Bar and Grill. That was, in fact, his third and final factory here in Newark. And he bred a series then of young innovators around him. There was a whole culture that was about harnessing electricity and electric power. One of those was a young man named Edward Weston. And so this is why this winding tale becomes important. Edward Weston, who ultimately lit up downtown Newark, who created the dynamo, the power generator as an alternative to batteries because he was in the electroplating business, who ultimately took advantage of the knowledge base here in Newark in celluloid, the first plastics, if you will, invented and manufactured here. He turned that into a more durable filament than Edison's. He was one of the founders of this university. He and a collection of other local industrialists, so these are not small mom and pop shops, these are the people who created the foundation of the American economy, said we need a different kind of education. As we become mechanized, as we use science as a way of driving our industrial economy, we need people who not only understand how to work on the shop floor, but also how to lead it, how to grow the companies, and ultimately be the people who will lead our companies when we step aside and have to pass it on to professional management. And so thus was the basis of the U.S. economy, and we had end up with companies like AT&T with its Bell Laboratories. Edison begat General Electric, RCA later on, and on, Exxon and out of Standard Oil. All these things became a migration from the solitary inventor to things that became globally dominant enterprises, many of them that still persist today. And that's both good news and bad news. Right? So the bad news is as we got bigger and bigger and more complex and the technologies required huge investments, what happened to the ability to do things ourselves? Right? We lost that hands-on. Even as John was describing, even the hands-on in games and toys began to be pushed away, and everything was prepackaged, designed and built somewhere else. When I grew up, you tuned your own car because you had to. You didn't adjust the points and change the plugs on a regular basis. Your car didn't go anywhere. Now, you don't even dare push the hood open. So the makerspace movement is this wonderful opportunity now to get back to where we always wanted to be, because although there are still vastly complex manufacturing technologies that are part of the future, biotechnological processes, nano-manufacturing processes, highly automated mass production processes, there is a space now. There are technologies by which we can get back as individuals to taking ideas and putting them into action, to cross that line from fantasy to actualization that can in fact become a wonderful, wonderful contribution to society and a career for us all. And so NJIT, having been the educational partner of New Jersey's industries since the 1880s, provided 25% of the technological workforce here in New Jersey, which happens to be the most densely populated region in the world of scientists and engineers, right, has continued to progress and expand on that relationship to do more, to be a better partner, to find ways other than the core mission of education. And that's why we founded NJIT, because we recognize that in this era we need to be much more involved, not just in doing our personal research, in moving the knowledge base of science, but understanding how to harness it and put it back into practical use. And so it is fitting that this entity is partnering with a company to bring model shop, makerspace, and even light, short-run production capacity back here into New Jersey, not just for large-scale corporate clients and not just for our students, but ultimately to push it all the way down to where we need to influence mind share. Studies showed when I was a kid that lifelong attitudes about science and engineering are made in 4th grade. I won't put anyone on the spot here, but I'm going to bet if I talk to you offline, you'll agree that at that time you had friends who had already decided they hate math and science and have never come back. Wow, what a tragedy. Well, to some extent because it was this remote thing in the classroom with no hands-on, no excitement. We have an opportunity to bring that passion and that excitement back and the ability to dream, but also to make our dreams. And so David Rosen is here today. David is the CEO of TechX Foundry, and what we're announcing today is a partnership to work with him, not only to bring NJIT clients and opportunities into the TechX Foundry that he's putting up in Secaucus as instance number one, I'm sure, of a much broader network of capabilities, but to take our Center for Manufacturing Systems, our 7,000 square foot high bay manufacturing center, and reinvent it, reimagine it as a makerspace, a model shop that will serve our students, will serve hobbyists, inventors, incubator companies. We have 95 companies here on the corner of campus in our Enterprise Development Center. And I have watched in my time with them more from being solely about IT and computer type things and professional services into more and more wanting to make and do things and bring products to market. These are the sort of resources that can only happen in a public-private partnership. It's way too expensive for a university to do this solely as an interest in the public good and for government as well. And so we're finding this beautiful marriage in a common purpose to bring us back to being a maker. So David, I've laid a lot of foundation, but I do want an opportunity for you to come up and join, and we can shake hands and smile for the camera. You can tell the world a little bit about TechX and what you hope to accomplish. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Hi, I'm David Rosen. I'm the CEO of TechX Foundry. I'm very proud to be involved and engaged with NJIT, especially in my career. I've looked at thousands of companies for acquisition by the Tech 150. I've run 4 companies and come out with 1.5 successful exits. So I've learned what it's like to make mistakes. And as I've been looking at different investments for myself in the past 3 years, the maker community was starting to expand, whether it's 90,000 plus people at the Maker Fair in Queens in New York getting together, or the 100,000 people getting together in California. It's an idea that things are getting back to things that you can touch, whether it's robotics, whether it's additive manufacturing and 3D printing, or whether it's other electronics or fabrication technologies of metal, wood, or plastic forming. But the reality is there's a lot of barriers for us. You know, if we go back to the past, you know, it's, as parents, we've been raising our children that, look, you should either become a doctor or an engineer or a baseball player or a basketball player. And only until the past 10 years, we've been saying, hey, become a game programmer. That's going to lead you to a millionaire career because you can come up with the next Halo or next combat program or next racing. The reality is it needs to become a little more fundamental. It's got to go back to making things. You look at the opportunities around the Internet of Things, as they're calling it. It's really the fact that hardware today is really not just hardware as we knew it when we used to run lathes as kids, but it's really about software-driven hardware. It's about smart hardware. It's not easy for Grandpa who taught Dad how to run the mills vertical and horizontal at his facility. for dad to teach the kids, because many of the CEOs don't know how to even run the equipment that's in their facilities. You know, Don also has pointed out we've had some great challenges. In New Jersey alone, we've gone from 115,000 manufacturers in 1986 in New Jersey to less than 14,000 today in 2015. However, the ones that have survived are very highly automated. They're very highly focused on the economics of their business and being competitive. Now, the flip side is I go back to my career of helping in acquisitions for large technology companies, and I look at the fact that you have all these opportunities, and the first question that comes up from an entrepreneur is, how do I make this? I've got an idea, a concept, I want to bring it to market. I've been noodling around with something in my home. You know, I have my little lathe, my little, bandsaw, whatever. And now how do I get it done? And the first question that comes up is, how do you get it done? And the first answer that comes back is, you go overseas to Asia and you have somebody make it for you. We have an opportunity now where those economic boundaries are shifting. And that's what TechX Foundry is all about. So consider a world where you've got a full facility of millions of dollars of equipment. You've got experts from academia and from corporations around that can help you bring these things to market, and you have access to millions of dollars of equipment but no capital cost. So think about somebody, you want to go out and you want to buy a CNC machine and it's going to cost you $20,000. Well, we'll have a membership fee, so you pay a couple $100s a month. And that just by not buying that one CNC machine and using it in our facility, you'll be able to have 10 years or 20 years of membership. And that's the boundary we're breaking, because there's a lot of opportunity to bring those manufacturing capabilities back closer to where demand is. And as far as I know, the US is still one of the largest demanding and consuming countries in the world. So TechX Foundry is partnering with NJIT because we believe that an ecosystem needs to be created to get people more involved. Even the engineers need to get more hands-on technology. But even more people like my son, who was part of that software crowd playing games, when I took him for a Maker's Day at Fubar Labs in Piscataway to solder for a soldering Sunday, his eyes lit up. It's like, I can do this stuff with my hands. I put on 3 LEDs and I pushed a button and it worked. And then he made a flashlight. Then I took him to another Maker's Day at another place here, the Maker Bar in Hoboken, and we actually made picture frames together. We used bandsaws, we used routers, a table router, we used a hand router, and all of a sudden his world opened up to the fact that there's a physical and a math world that can work together. And so TechX Foundry is bringing those two worlds together, the digital and the physical, so that we can create the hardware of the future, and that we can create that smart hardware that's going into autonomous vehicles, into smart cities to make things more efficient and more effective. And because we're going to be using and selling a lot of those products here, it's economical to make it here, and that's what we're going to be proving out in our programs. So I want to thank NJIT. They're probably one of the most collaborative universities I've ever worked with. I've had my fair share of joint ventures with universities, and I'm very excited to move this forward and have everyone making things that, whether it's for your family or whether it's for going to market, you'll have a place where you don't have to worry about capital, and you'll have experts around to help, and you'll have students around to help, and you'll have our people around, like Matt Hagan, who is one of the smartest guys I know in the 3D printing field today. He has printed metal sintering all the way down to the basic plastics, and within 3 years of being in the Air Force, became a crew chief on an F-22. So when you get that much responsibility, you have to be pretty smart at solving problems. So welcome, and thank you, Don. I appreciate it, and I wish everyone in New Jersey a great Maker Day.
That was terrific. It's I don't know about you, but I get inspired when I hear those stories and what's the possibilities. I just want to relate something, a fact. The Boston Consulting Group, which does all these studies, predicts by the year 2018, the United States will be a lower cost producer of manufactured goods than China. Okay? Yes, fantastic. Some people think we're there already. Because of the automation, because of the robotics, because of our low cost of energy. Also, I met with a German banker in New York City. He says he has clients all over the world, and he says it's cheaper to make a BMW in America and ship it to Europe than to make it in Europe. So, you know, we're ready for this, but we need young people to get interested in manufacturing. The world is your oyster, I'll tell you. There's a lot of opportunities. I want to thank Gail and John Kennedy and Don and David and all of the other speakers here, the presenters. We're going to go into what they're going to present now. I also want to thank Gail's organization, the Continuing Professional Engineering Organization, particularly Iona Smith, is she here? Yes. And Gwen Scanlene, who helped out a lot on today's program. And of course, my #1 supporter, Michael Marchetti. Thank you, Michael, for everything. We're going to close with this video right now, okay, which is a 7-minute long video that we developed for the actually part of the Advanced Manufacturing Talent Network, and it's a short video, 7 minutes long, about careers in manufacturing, okay? So.
You just invented the most amazing projectable tablet. How will you make it? How will you market it? How will you make more than one? How will you make 100 in pink and 100 in green? Just think about it. Somebody had to make and sell all these products. Would you buy them? What would it be like to make the things you buy? All the things you want. There are so many amazing things made and sold by manufacturers. People who make things love to think with their minds and their hands. And the things these people make are so important. To make a product, someone has to design it, make it, improve it, distribute it, sell it, and support it. It all starts with solving a problem. Take the iPod. A technology guy by the name of Tony Fadell wanted to invent a better MP3 player. He then got Apple to hire him to develop the idea with a team of 30 other designers. People in manufacturing who design the things we use every day are engineers, designers, and technologists. This is manufacturing, making a product from a design. A product that solves a problem or fills a need. This product then becomes a solution. Products are made from raw materials such as plastics, metals, wood, and chemicals. Many manufacturers use advanced technology, software, hardware, and electronics. This technology is used to run equipment that converts raw materials into products. People in manufacturing who make products are operators, technicians, process engineers, supervisors, and testers. Making products is a process. Making multiple products is a more complicated process. And making products that are specialized takes even more time, energy, and teamwork. Manufacturers have to improve the way things are made to help save money, time, and materials. People in manufacturing who improve products are engineers, market researchers, operators, and technicians. For the product to reach customers who need it and want it, someone has to sell it. A customer can be one person called a consumer. A customer can also be a business that sells to other consumers. Some of the people who sell products specialize in technical sales, customer support, marketing, graphic design, and social media. When customers buy a product, they want to know when they will receive it. They want to be able to track the product from the factory to their doorstep. Manufacturers need to order, inventory, store, manage, and deliver products to customers by air, land, and sea. People who distribute products are planners, buyers, inventory specialists, packing and shipping specialists, pilots and drivers, and customer service representatives. Part of any manufacturing system is to make sure that products work and keep working for customers. Today's high-tech products often need maintenance and repair by skilled people. People who support products are customer support representatives, equipment installers, repair and maintenance technicians, and operators. There are so many different and interesting career opportunities in manufacturing. It's easy to find something you're interested in, and from there, you can take your career in any direction. So what is it like to work in manufacturing?
We work around the globe with people who speak different languages and live in different time zones. We use the newest technology. We work in teams to create products that make life better. Manufacturers think about what life could be. Our ideas make smarter products that make life better. We imagine and influence how raw materials will look, handle, and feel as products. We manage those raw materials and shape the future. The world is changing. Technology is moving us forward and allowing us to work together from any place in the world. The software, hardware, and electronics we use are changing every day.
Today we need people like you to join us in manufacturing. Young people who love technology, young people who love to collaborate and love to create, young people who are intuitive and quick. Be part of manufacturing's future. Collaborate with us in New Jersey as we rewire our industries, our companies, our products, and our brands. Help us keep making products that the world loves. Let's do it here in New Jersey and throughout the United States. Manufacturing is a great career. Earnings and benefits are 18% more than they are for professionals in finance, insurance, and real estate. Opportunities to advance in manufacturing are unlimited.
Join us and move the world forward. Explore a rewarding career in advanced manufacturing.
Okay, very good. Thank you. It's all very exciting. We're just going to take a few more minutes and just introduce our presenters today, or demonstrators. And first up, we're going to ask Mike Nager from Festo Didactic to come up. Mike.
Hey, thank you, Ray. We are presenting some of our products in the back. I work for a company called Festo Didactic. We're a global supplier of technical and engineering training apparatus and curriculum. And the Maker's Day is a perfect introduction for our stuff because it takes that grassroots efforts. One of our speakers said it took engagement at the 4th grade level to get people interested in technology, manufacturing, and making things in general. And that's the part of the world that we play in. So if you're a student or if you're a person interested in manufacturing, even if you're not going to be an entrepreneur, even if you're not going to be the person that takes a brand new product and introduces it to the world, there's still going to be a spot for many millions of people, and that's in manufacturing. So what we do is we take the basic building block of manufacturing, which is called mechatronics. Mechatronics is a combination of electronics, mechanics, and IT technologies all into one discipline. That's the basic building block for advanced manufacturing. That's going to lead towards the Internet of Things, super advanced manufacturing that people are now developing all around the country and all around the world. And we're proud to be a part of that. So please stop by our booth. We're right over there. We'll give you a quick tour of some of the equipment that we brought, and we look forward to engaging you in the future. Thank you.
Okay, next we'll have Erin Sweeney from Glassroots. This is an organization in Newark where they make glass products. Erin?
Good morning. My name is Erin Sweeney. As you mentioned, I'm the vice chair at Glassroots. We're a 501c3 nonprofit located just down the road on Bleecker Street, 10 Bleecker Street. We're actually open today for demos until 3 p.m. So please, when you're finished here, if you'd like to come on down and join us, we'd love to have you. We were started in January 2001 as an organization really that had the idea that communities and especially the lives of children can be transformed through the arts. So we were modeled after a program in Washington State that really looked at how to provide youth a pathway to being self-sustainable and to really expressing themselves through the arts in a way that could teach them business and entrepreneurship skills in the process. Throughout the years, since 2001, we've really expanded our mission quite a bit to really try to reach as many students in the area as possible. And we've reached over 14,000 youth in the greater Newark area over the last 15 years. We use, everyone loves STEM, we use the idea of STEAM. So you add arts into your traditional STEM curriculum, and you're able to demonstrate with the students everything from the science and technology areas, mathematics and engineering, but also add in the arts and the creativity. So we've seen that that's really helped our students grow individually. Throughout the years, we've developed many different programs. We do classes on site. We also go to schools throughout the community and do programs at their sites. Some of our unique programs, the Business and Entrepreneurship program takes youth throughout the school year. They actually spend over 65 hours in our place learning about business and entrepreneurship, developing their own product, and then actually having to learn all the elements of how you would produce a product, how you would sell it, you would market it, cost, doing budgets, everything like that. And then there's a competition at the end to see whose product was most sustainable and and sold the most at some of our events. We also have a summer program for youth, so if you know youth that are interested, they can apply for our summer program. We have financial aid available as well. And most exciting, I think, for this group is something we started last year, which is actually a post-high school program in scientific glass making. So through a partnership with the Veris Foundation, we were able to start our first class of students who are in their early 20s who are learning the art of making scientific glass. And one has actually already been employed to do scientific glass making as a career. So we're looking to build this in the following years and hopefully get many more youth and Newarkers out there making scientific glass. So we invite you to come by. We also have adult programs. So if you're looking to try your creativity at glass art, we have some samples over on our table. We also do commission pieces. If you have a gala coming up, you're looking for an award, we're always happy to make those for you. And again, we're at 10 Bleecker Street. You're always welcome, and please stop by and visit us. Thanks.
Thank you. Isn't that neat, just being able to, you can go down there and learn how to make some products with glass. They make great gifts for people, made in Newark, all right? Okay, next we have BJ Dowling. She's from Bodyworks Enterprises, and she will come up and explain what her company does. And please welcome BJ Dowling.
I'm not BJ Dowling, as you know. But I do want to say a few words that BJ may not. She's setting up. She did, there was a major road accident on her way up here. I would like to publicly announce that BJ Dolan is going this coming week receiving one of the major awards of a woman manufacturer in our country. She was nominated actually by NJIT for a program with the National Association of Manufacturers, their Manufacturing Institute. They have a program called Step Ahead, and along with 129 other women in America, BJ will be the 130th woman in America to be recognized for being a leader as a woman in manufacturing. So congratulations to BJ, but now it's your end.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Sorry about the delay. I'm also a Superstorm Sandy survivor. As such, having a house block up an entire development for 2 hours has become a new reality here for us in New Jersey. Thank you to Gail, to Ray, to Michael, especially. Without them and without the folks at NJIT, without Senator Cory Booker, I would not be receiving the 2015 STEP Award. It's because of the great support that I've been provided by so many events in the state, and with the support of New Jersey Institute of Technology, Department of Labor. My product's also in the running now for Inc. Magazine's 2014 Design of the Year for Office Design. But rather than get through all of that, what I would like to do is, the whole point of this Makers event is to engage the next generation. So I see a young man in the back row. I don't know if he's shy or not, but I would like some assistance in assembling my product if he'd like to come up, because I would like to show this is how we do it. This is how we start the next generations, all right? My mother, Diane, who's the backbone of the company as well. So in order to engage our youth, I don't usually need a microphone. I'm pretty loud to begin. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. What I would like to do is teach the beginning fundamentals. So my lovely assistant here, Diane, who's also my right arm here, if we could take our young participant here through the assembly. We did a documentary, which hasn't been fully debuted yet. We did the first 14-minute clip of it with the hashtag NJMade. You can see a clip, a 14-minute clip on my YouTube channel, or if you just Google NJMade, which has some of the folks from NJIT, as well as Senator Cory Booker. There'll be some additional people participating. It'll be on World News Tonight, as well as some others, showing how you don't need to be a huge corporation. I mean, I'm the only small wellness entrepreneur that's going to be down in Washington, D.C., among the likes of 3M, General Motors, Toyota, Caterpillar, Whirlpool. So, but in order to get that, we need the young next generation to be participating as well. So I'm just going to clear some space here. Just give me one moment, please. Okay. Thank you. Okay. We'll use this little box here. Okay. Now, have you ever assembled anything for manufacturing?
No, I've not.
Okay, but now today you're going to make your first product that you'll be able to take home with you as well. Okay, so Diane, can you start showing him? All right. Okay, so that ball, while she's showing him, that ball is made in Trenton, New Jersey. Trenton used to be the rubber manufacturing capital of the world, and we're trying to bring it back again. Every component is made in the U.S., every single thing. So lead it through. Yep, hold it up. Good job.
Great.
Okay.
This is on the top hat. Slide that right on.
Let him do it. He can do it. If you need to lean on this to do it, go ahead, Aiden.
Put that in just a little bit. Not too far.
Good job.
Do.
Okay, the next segment is
My bad.
we're feeding
My
it
bad.
through. Oh,
My bad.
okay.
We need a handle.
Feeding the handle. Let him do it.
So put that on.
Feed it through. You can do it. He can do it. All right. Feed it all the way through. Let's rest it here so it doesn't fall down on you.
Push it through.
All right.
Then I
All
just
the way down.
push it down so it just is out
Okay.
of the way. Now we're going to put our top hat on.
You're doing good.
Very good. Okay. Then.
Pardon? Okay. Can I get some water, please? I've got a tickle in my throat, sorry. Okay, so right now, go ahead, keep going.
What I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you first.
Right now, he's
Sometimes
feeding it
it's
through.
easier to lay these down and just slide that in.
Now, we don't have big equipment when we first started out. We couldn't afford $500,000 for machinery. So we got these cinching tools. The metal component is made in Brick, New Jersey. It's from a third-generation manufacturer. Thank you very much. The rubber came from a company that's been in business over 100 years. So because we didn't have huge equipment, we still wanted to be in manufacturing. So now squeeze good. There you go. Use those muscles. Squeeze it down. You got it. You got it. Keep going. All right. Good job. You got it. Excellent work.
Then the next thing I do, always check
Let him hold it.
to make sure it's tight.
So pull on it. Now we're going to pull on it.
Put it between my two fingers
It's a
like
quality
this.
control check. He's got it. Look at yours now.
That it doesn't slide off.
Perfect. You can't
Okay,
let it
see?
be.
Okay.
He's got it. He can't get it to move, so he's done a great job.
Let it drop down in.
Here, grab it back again. Pull it up here. Pull it down, all the way down, all the way down. You got it. One final
Now the
part.
fun part. You just take it.
Foam grip, also made in the United States, California.
Slide it.
Slide, slide, slide. Use that strength. Use that strength.
Push it on the end.
You got it.
Push it.
Keep pushing. Let him do it.
Keep pushing down. Do it from the end.
You
There
got it.
go. Excellent. Perfect.
You got it. Great job. Great job. Now, Aiden has now created his own component. It's one of the fastest growing wellness products in the United States for Fortune 500 companies. Used to be only used by pro athletes. It's the only product used by 2 Super Bowl MVPs, NBA MVP, and now it's used by our manufacturing MVP, Aiden. Thank you for your help in assembling a product. Thank you. Good job. Thank you very much. Thank you for your help. Okay. Okay. Well, I wanted to first show about assembly because that was important to me. What this product does is for relief of neck cricks, shoulder knots, and achy feet. It's the #1 item because people are now sitting hunched over tech devices 10 hours plus a day, and sitting is now as bad as smoking. Even if you work out half an hour a day, it will not counter the ill effects of sitting hunched over your devices. So it takes care of neck cricks, shoulder knots, achy feet, antimicrobial. You can use any kind of cleaning agent. How does it work? Well, we don't have a wall right here, but I can show on any wall. Simply grab a ball, find a wall, and get rolling. You just put your body up against it. If I was leaning against the wall, it would go up and down, and it mimics the same effect as a massage chair, only it's self-directing. And at under $35, it's a lot less than paying for a massage or a pedicure, and it's self-wellness. Any questions? Thank you so much, Aiden, for helping me out with this. Thank you.
Thank you, BJ. That was great. Very good.
Thank you.
Okay. So now we have Andres Gomez from Rockwell Automation, and he'll be our final presenter.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, NJIT, for having us here. Rockwell Automation is the world's largest company dedicated to industrial automation and information. We help our customers, which are manufacturers, plant operators, equipment and machine builders, to be more productive, to be safer, to create a more sustainable world. We have brand names that are well recognized, like such as Allen Bradley. So why are we here today? The reason we are here today, and actually along with one of our local authorized distributor, Turtle & Hughes, the reason why we're here today is because by the year 2020, there's going to be 1 billion more middle-class consumers in the world, right? That's going to create great demand on water. It's expected that we're going to need 30% more water, 80% more steel, 100% more automobiles, 50% more energy. That's a great demand of manufacturers. So manufacturers have to work smarter, right? We all need to work smarter. We all need to be competitive if we in New Jersey want to be, in that market, available market. So what we're looking for is we're looking for the talent that's going to be able to embrace the technology we make. I invite you to stop at our booth down here, where we showcase this advanced technology, advanced manufacturing technology, and we need talent. And I thought the video that Ray presented with Manufacturer NJ has a great example of what we require. We require technicians, engineers. We require draftsmen, people that know 3D modeling. Because we can't, companies like ours, we can provide the technology, but we need the people that can understand the technology and can make it work. So I invite all the young people to consider STEM careers and to be able to embrace that. Let me just give you another example of this vision. Rockwell has a vision of a connected enterprise, where you have, most of you know now today that equipment is available to be connected on internet. They call it Internet of Things. All these sensors in manufacturing, all these sensors connected on an internet network need to provide manufacturers information so they can make decisions faster, more decisions that are going to make them competitive. This information from manufacturers is also going to help consumers. So you can go with a mobile device to a pharmacy, scan a product, and guarantee that that product came from a valid manufacturer, is not a counterfeit product. So all that technology I'm mentioning, we need the talent to be able to embrace it and get it available so we can become, in New Jersey, again, a leading in manufacturing. Thank you for your time.
Okay, that wraps up our program for today. Thank you very much for attending. And don't forget, there's many more activities throughout the state that are going on up until 4 o'clock today, njmakersday.org. Thank you very much.